What if Vader raised Luke and Leia? Let's explore the depths of it in the video. The twins exchange glances, communicating through their Force bond. They know this is the best offer they'll receive. 1 year to prove themselves, to show that the rebellion can succeed. Luke nods first, then Leia. We have an accord, Father. Vader turns back to face them. Then go. Meet with your rebels. But be careful. The Emperor's reach is long, and his inquisitors are everywhere. If you're captured, I cannot save you without revealing my own betrayal. We understand, Leia says. And Father, thank you for everything you've taught us, for giving us a chance. Vader's voice is softer than they've ever heard it. Your mother would have done the same. She would have fought, no matter the odds. I failed her, but perhaps through you, some part of her dream can survive. The meeting with the Rebel Alliance is arranged on a remote moon in the Outer Rim. The twins arrive in a civilian transport, having abandoned their Imperial shuttle to avoid tracking. They're directed to a hidden base carved into the moon's rocky surface. A modest operation compared to the Imperial facilities they're used to. They're met by a human woman in her 30s with sharp eyes and a blaster on her hip. Her name is Captain Syndulla, and she regards them with obvious suspicion. Darth Vader's children want to join the rebellion. Forgive me if I'm skeptical. Luke steps forward, his voice steady. We're not our father's puppets. We destroyed Imperial Station 12. We have intelligence on fleet movements, supply depots, and strategic plans. We want to help. Syndulla's expression doesn't change. Or your spies sent to infiltrate us. How do we know this isn't an elaborate trap? Leia produces a data chip. This contains everything we took from the station. Troop deployments, surveillance protocols, communication codes. If we were spies, why would we give you genuine intelligence? That could hurt the Empire? The captain takes the chip and hands it to a nearby technician. We'll verify it. In the meantime, you're confined to this sector. Armed guards will escort you everywhere. The twins spend 3 days in that base, watched constantly, questioned repeatedly. They meet other rebels, people from dozens of worlds united by their hatred of Imperial oppression. A Twi'lek pilot who lost his family to an Imperial bombing. A former Imperial officer who defected after witnessing a massacre. A young woman from Alderaan who speaks passionately about freedom and justice. Luke finds himself drawn to the pilots, swapping stories and techniques. He's careful not to reveal too much about his training, but his skill is obvious. The other pilots regard him with a mixture of respect and wariness. You fly like you were born in a cockpit, one of them says. Where'd you learn? My father taught me, Luke answers simply. He was a pilot before he became what he is now. The statement hangs in the air, a reminder of who Luke's father is, but the pilot nods slowly. My father was a good man once too. The Empire changes people. Luke thinks about Vader, about the glimpses of Anakin Skywalker that still surface, and wonders if change is ever truly permanent, or if the person you were always remains somewhere inside. Leia spends her time with the political leadership, offering insights into Imperial decision-making. She's surprised to find herself debating strategy with Senator Bail Organa, a man she recognizes from her studies. He regards her with careful interest, his questions probing but not hostile. You understand the Senate better than someone your age should, he observes. Your analysis of voting blocks is sophisticated. I had an excellent teacher, Leia responds. My mother was a senator before she died. She believed in democracy, in the power of people to govern themselves. Organa's expression shifts, something painful flickering across his face. Your mother was Senator Amidala. I knew her. She was one of the finest leaders I ever had the privilege of serving with. Leia's breath catches. You knew her. What was she like? Organa smiles sadly. She was brilliant, compassionate, and utterly fearless. She stood against Chancellor Palpatine when few others would. She saw the darkness growing long before most of us. He pauses. She would have been proud of you, I think. Both of you. For having the courage to choose your own path. The validation means more than Leia expected. Someone who knew her mother, who remembers her as more than a tragic figure in history, sees worth in what they're doing. After 3 days, Captain Syndulla calls them to a meeting room. The intelligence you provided checks out. It's already saved 2 rebel cells from Imperial ambushes. She sits across from them, her suspicion tempered by grudging respect. So here's my question. What do you want? What do you hope to accomplish? Luke answers without hesitation. We want to bring down the Empire. We want to stop the Emperor and free the galaxy from tyranny. That's a tall order for 2 teenagers, even skilled ones. Syndulla leans back in her chair. What makes you think you can succeed where thousands have failed? Because we know the Empire from the inside, Leia says. We know its weaknesses, its blind spots, and we're willing to do whatever it takes. No half measures, no retreat. We're committed to this fight until the end. Syndulla studies them for a long moment. All right, you're in. But understand this, you don't get special treatment because of who you are. You follow orders like everyone else. You prove yourselves in the field. And if there's even a hint that you're working for your father, I'll put a blaster bolt through your head myself. Understood? The twins nod in unison. Understood. They're assigned to a strike team led by a grizzled Duro named Shriv. He's a combat veteran with a dark sense of humor and zero patience for incompetence. Their first mission is a supply raid on an Imperial depot. Nothing fancy but a chance to prove themselves. The team loads into a transport and Shriv briefs them on the plan. We go in quiet, grab as much as we can carry, and get out before they know we're there. No heroics, no showboating. We're thieves, not warriors. The depot is located on a backwater world, lightly guarded but still dangerous. As they approach, Luke pilots the transport with practiced skill, bringing them in under the sensor net. They land a kilometer away and move in on foot. Leia uses the Force to sense the guards' positions, feeding the information to Shriv through hand signals. The team moves like shadows, stunning guards and disabling sensors. They reach the storage facility and begin loading supplies, medical equipment, weapons, food. Everything the rebellion desperately needs. Then alarms blare. Someone missed a sensor. Stormtroopers pour into the compound and the quiet operation becomes a firefight. Shriv curses and orders the retreat. The team falls back toward the transport, laying down covering fire. A trooper draws a bead on Shriv's back. Luke doesn't think. He simply reaches out with the Force and shoves the trooper's aim off. The blast goes wide and Shriv spins to take the trooper down. Did you just? He starts to ask. Save your life, Luke finishes. You're welcome. Leia is at the transport, using her lightsaber to deflect blaster bolts while the others load the supplies. Her movements are precise, economic, nothing wasted. A grenade bounces toward the group and she force pushes it back toward the Imperials. The explosion provides cover for the team to board. Luke takes the pilot seat and guns the engines. The transport lifts off as blaster fire pings off the hull. He weaves through the depot's infrastructure, using buildings as cover, then punches it for orbit. Behind them, TIE fighters scramble to pursue. Here we go, Luke mutters. He throws the transport into a spiral, and the TIE fighters struggle to match his maneuvers. One gets a lock and laser fire stitches across their shields. Leia moves to the gun turret and returns fire, her aim guided by the Force. She clips the TIE's wing, sending it spiraling into another fighter. The remaining TIEs break off as the transport hits the upper atmosphere. Shriv claps Luke on the shoulder. Not bad, kid. Not bad at all. Where'd you learn to fly like that? Vader, Luke says simply. My father taught me everything about piloting. The acknowledgement creates an awkward silence, but Shriv just nods. Well, the old bastard knows his stuff. I'll give him that. Back at the base, the successful mission earns them a measure of acceptance. They're no longer just Vader's kids, they're rebels who've proven themselves under fire. More missions follow, each one more dangerous than the last. They sabotage Imperial factories, rescue prisoners, steal intelligence. Luke becomes known as one of the best pilots in the Alliance, his skills legendary even among veterans. Leia's tactical mind helps plan operations that shouldn't succeed but somehow do. Through it all, Vader keeps his word. He provides intelligence when he can, always careful to make it seem like the rebels discovered it through their own efforts. He misdirects Imperial investigations, ensures that certain operations are undermanned. He is walking a razor's edge, betraying his master while maintaining the appearance of loyalty. The Emperor notices nothing at first, too focused on his grand schemes to pay attention to one Dark Lord's subtle manipulations. 6 months into their year-long agreement, the twins are called to a major operation. The Rebel Alliance has learned of a new Imperial weapon, a battle station capable of destroying entire planets. The Death Star. The intelligence came from Vader himself, passed through layers of intermediaries until it reached Rebel command. Senator Organa briefs the assembled strike team. This weapon cannot be allowed to become operational. If the Emperor gains the ability to destroy worlds at will, the rebellion is finished. We've identified a weakness in the station's design, a thermal exhaust port that leads directly to the main reactor. A precise hit will start a chain reaction that will destroy the station. There's just one problem. The pilot would have to make an impossible shot while under fire from the station's defenses and a full squadron of TIE fighters. The room fills with murmurs of doubt. It's a suicide mission. No one could make that shot. Luke stands. I can make it. Every head turns toward him. Luke Skywalker, barely 18 years old, claiming he can do the impossible. Organa studies him carefully. You're that confident in your abilities? My father taught me that with the Force, nothing is impossible. I've made harder shots in training. Give me a chance, and I'll prove it. The decision is made. Luke will lead Red Squadron in the attack on the Death Star. Leia will coordinate the overall assault from the command ship. As the strike force prepares to leave, Vader contacts them through an encrypted channel they've established. The twins meet him in secret on a remote asteroid, their ships docked beside his TIE Advanced. He emerges from his fighter, his presence as imposing as ever. You're going after the Death Star. It's a statement, not a question. We are, Leia confirms. Will you try to stop us? Vader is silent for a moment. No. This weapon, it's wrong even by Imperial standards. The power to destroy worlds should not exist. But you must understand, if you succeed, I will be suspected. The Emperor will know someone provided the intelligence. Then come with us, Luke pleads. Father, leave the Empire behind. Help us end this. I cannot, not yet, but I will do what I can to ensure your success. He hands them a data chip. Updated defense patterns, patrol schedules, and one more thing. The Emperor is sending me to lead the defense. I will be in one of the TIE fighters pursuing you, Luke. The revelation hits like a physical blow. You'll be hunting us. I will appear to be hunting you. But I will ensure my shots miss. Still, there will be other pilots, highly skilled ones. You must be careful. Luke's voice is tight with emotion. So I'm supposed to destroy the Death Star while you pretend to try to kill me. That's the plan. Father, this is insane. Insane, perhaps, but necessary. He places a hand on Luke's shoulder. Trust in the Force, my son. Let it guide your actions as I taught you. You can do this. The day of the assault arrives. The Rebel fleet emerges from hyperspace near the Death Star, and the scale of the battle station is overwhelming. It's the size of a small moon, bristling with weapons and shields. The Rebel fighters launch, Luke among them in his X-Wing, the blue lightsaber crystal his father gave him hanging from his neck. Red Leader, this is Red 5, I'm going in. The voice of Red Leader crackles back. Copy that, Red 5, stay sharp. The fighters dive toward the Death Star's surface, weaving between turbo laser fire. The station's defenses are murderous, and Rebel ships begin exploding around Luke. He reaches out with the Force, feeling each threat before it materializes, dodging and weaving through the chaos. Then the TIE fighters arrive. Leading them is Vader's distinctive TIE Advanced. Luke can sense his father's presence in the Force, a dark star of power. The TIE fighters tear into the Rebel formation. Ships explode left and right as the Imperial pilots demonstrate their superior skill. Luke finds himself in a deadly dance with his father, the two of them spiraling around each other. Vader's shots are precise but always just miss, hitting empty space where Luke was a moment before. To any observer, it looks like Luke is simply an incredible pilot. Only the two of them know the truth. Red Squadron reaches the trench, the approach to the thermal exhaust port. One by one, pilots make their runs, and one by one they fail. Either their shots miss or they're destroyed before they can fire. Finally, it's Luke's turn. He dives into the trench, his targeting computer online. Behind him, Vader follows with two wingmen. Luke, you've switched off your targeting computer. What's wrong? Red Leader's voice is concerned. Nothing. I'm all right. Luke closes his eyes and reaches out with the Force. He can feel the Death Star's structure, the flow of energy, the exact location of the exhaust port. He doesn't need the computer. He has the Force. Behind him, Vader's wingmen open fire. One shot hits Luke's rear deflector, and R2-D2 squeals as systems fail. Luke grits his teeth and maintains his course. His father's voice enters his mind, not through comms, but through the Force. Use the Force, Luke. Let go. Trust yourself. Luke's finger hovers over the trigger. The exhaust port approaches rapidly. In seconds, he'll either succeed or die trying. He fires. The proton torpedoes streak down the shaft, disappearing into the Death Star's depths. For a heartbeat, nothing happens. Then the station shudders. Explosions ripple across its surface as the chain reaction begins. Luke pulls up hard, rocketing away from the trench. Behind him, Vader does the same, his tie spinning away from the dying battle station. The rebel fighters scatter as the Death Star tears itself apart from within. The explosion is visible across the system, a miniature star burning briefly before fading to debris. Luke's fighter limps back to the rebel fleet, his shields gone and his systems barely functional. When he lands, he's mobbed by celebrating rebels. They've done the impossible. They've destroyed the Empire's ultimate weapon. In the chaos, Leia finds her brother. They embrace, both of them shaking with adrenaline and relief. "We did it," Luke says. "We actually did it. Not just us," Leia reminds him. "Father helped make this possible. He gave us the intelligence. He protected you during the battle." Luke nods slowly. "I know. I felt him in the Force. He was there with me, guiding me." Far away on an Imperial Star Destroyer, Vader stands alone in his meditation chamber. He felt the moment the Death Star was destroyed, felt the deaths of thousands of Imperial personnel. He should feel rage, should vow revenge. Instead, he feels something he hasn't experienced in years. Pride. His son accomplished the impossible, proved himself to be exactly the hero Vader trained him to be. But the victory comes with a cost. The Emperor summons him immediately. Palpatine's hologram is twisted with fury when it appears. "You failed, Lord Vader. The Death Star is destroyed. Your son killed thousands of loyal Imperials." Vader kneels, his mind racing. "The boy is strong in the Force, my master. Stronger than I anticipated. Then he must be turned or destroyed. Bring me the boy and his sister. I will break them and they will serve the Empire, or they will die screaming. I will hunt them down," Vader promises. But the Emperor's eyes narrow. "Will you? Or will your attachment to these children cloud your judgment as your attachment to Padme Amidala once did? I sense doubt in you, my apprentice. Doubt that was not there before." "There is no doubt, only certainty. I will bring them before you, or I will kill them myself." The hologram flickers out, but Vader knows the Emperor doesn't believe him. He has suspected the truth, or at least part of it. Vader's time is running out. He must make a choice soon, a choice that will define the rest of his existence. Meanwhile, the Rebel Alliance celebrates its greatest victory. The impossible has been achieved, and hope spreads across the galaxy. Systems that were too afraid to oppose the Empire now begin to consider rebellion. The movement grows stronger with each passing day. Luke and Leia are hailed as heroes, but they know the real battle is just beginning. The Emperor will not take this defeat lightly. He will come for them with everything he has, and when he does, they'll have to face not just the Empire, but potentially their father as well. One night, as the celebrations continue around them, the twins slip away to a quiet observation deck. They look out at the stars, processing everything that's happened. "Do you think he'll come for us?" Luke asks. Leia considers the question. "Yes. The Emperor will force him to choose, and I don't know what he'll decide." Luke's hand moves to the lightsaber crystal around his neck. "Part of me wants to believe he'll choose us, that he'll finally break free of the Emperor's control. But the other part remembers every lesson he taught us about power and survival. He might decide we're too dangerous to live. We have to be ready for that possibility," Leia agrees. "If we face him, we might have to fight him for real." "Could you do it?" Luke asks quietly. "Could you fight Father knowing you might have to kill him?" Leia's jaw sets. If it's him or the galaxy, if it's him or the people we're trying to save, then yes, I could. I don't want to, but I could. Luke isn't sure he can say the same. For all of Vader's darkness, for all the terrible things he's done, he's still their father. He protected them, trained them, gave them the tools to become who they are. The thought of raising his lightsaber against Vader fills Luke with dread. Their contemplation is interrupted by Captain Syndulla, the princess and the pilot hiding from their own celebration. "You two should be proud. You've given the Alliance its first real victory." Leia turns to face her. "It's not enough. One battle station destroyed doesn't end the Empire. We need to keep pushing, keep fighting until freedom is restored." Syndulla smiles slightly. "Spoken like a true rebel. We're planning the next operation. Senator Organa wants you both involved in the planning. Your insights into Imperial thinking have been invaluable." As they follow Syndulla back to the command center, both twins feel the weight of what's to come. They've crossed a threshold. They're no longer just rebels playing at revolution. They're leaders in a galactic war, and thousands of lives depend on their decisions. The planning session goes late into the night. They identify targets, discuss strategies, debate the best ways to capitalize on their momentum. Luke proposes a series of hit-and-run attacks on Imperial supply lines, using his piloting skills to train other rebel pilots in advanced tactics. Leia suggests a political campaign to win over neutral systems, using the Death Star's destruction as proof that the Empire can be beaten. Senator Organa listens to both proposals with approval. "You two think like your mother," he says. "She always understood that war is fought on multiple fronts, military and political. You're honoring her legacy." The compliment means everything to them. They're building something here, something that might actually change the galaxy. Days turn into weeks and the rebellion's success continues. Luke leads daring raids that cripple Imperial logistics. Leia's diplomatic efforts bring 3 new systems into the Alliance. They're making a real difference, and it shows in how the other rebels treat them. They're no longer Vader's children. They're Luke and Leia, heroes of the rebellion, but in the shadows, the Emperor plans. He has sensed the disturbance in the Force, felt Vader's growing distance from the dark side. He knows that Vader's children are the cause, and he knows they must be eliminated. He begins assembling a task force specifically designed to hunt the twins. Force-sensitive Inquisitors, elite stormtrooper units, and bounty hunters without conscience or mercy. At the center of this task force is Vader himself, commanded by his master to destroy his own children. The Dark Lord has run out of time. He must choose. 8 months after the twins joined the rebellion, Vader makes contact through their secret channel. He requests a meeting, just the 3 of them, on a neutral world. The twins debate whether to go. It could be a trap, a way for Vader to capture them and deliver them to the Emperor, but it could also be their father reaching out one final time. They decide to risk it. The meeting is set on a barren moon, far from any Imperial or Rebel presence. The twins arrive first, their ship concealed in a canyon. They wait with their hands on their lightsabers, ready for anything. Vader's shuttle lands nearby, and he emerges alone. The 3 of them stand facing each other, family separated by ideology and war. "Father," Leia says carefully, "why did you call us here?" Vader's breathing is heavy, labored. "Because the time has come to make a choice. The Emperor knows I've been helping you. He suspects my loyalty, and he's given me an ultimatum. Bring you before him to be turned or killed, or be branded a traitor myself." The words hang in the air like a death sentence. Luke steps forward. "Then come with us. Abandon the Empire. Fight alongside us. Together, we can defeat the Emperor." "It's not that simple." Vader's voice is pained. "The dark side has its hooks deep in me. I've done things, terrible things that can never be forgiven or forgotten. If I try to return to the light, the darkness within me will consume me. I don't know if I'm strong enough to survive that transformation." "You don't have to do it alone," Leia insists. "We'll help you. We're your children, your blood. If there's any part of Anakin Skywalker left inside you, we can reach it." For a long moment, Vader is silent. Then he reaches up and touches his mask. The sound of pressure seals releasing fills the air. Slowly, he lifts the mask away. Beneath it is a face ravaged by fire and darkness. Scarred tissue, pale skin, eyes that have seen too much pain. But those eyes are also achingly human, filled with conflict and longing. Luke and Leia see their father, truly see him, for the first time in their lives. "I am broken," Anakin says, his voice rough without the mask's modulation. "I have been Vader for so long that I don't know if Anakin still exists. But when I look at you, when I see what you've become despite my influence, I feel something I thought dead. Hope." The twins approach their father slowly, as if afraid he might vanish. Luke reaches out and places a hand on Anakin's scarred cheek. "You're still in there. We can feel you in the Force. You're not lost, just buried. Let us help you find your way back." Anakin's eyes close, and for the first time in decades, tears run down his ravaged face. "I don't deserve your forgiveness. I don't deserve your love. But if you're willing to try, if you believe I can be saved, then I will fight. I will fight the darkness inside me, and I will stand with you against the Emperor." The moment crystallizes, a turning point in the fate of the galaxy. Anakin Skywalker has returned. But his redemption will not be easy. The dark side has claimed him for so long that breaking free will require every ounce of strength he possesses. They return to the rebel base together, though Anakin insists on keeping his identity hidden at first. The sight of Darth Vader walking among rebels would cause panic. Instead, he wears simple robes and keeps his face covered. Only the highest-ranking leaders know who he truly is. Senator Organa's reaction is complex when he learns the truth. He remembers Anakin Skywalker as a hero of the Clone Wars, but also knows what Vader has done in the Empire's service. Can we trust him? Organa asks the twins privately. We believe so, Leia responds. But we're not naive. We know he's done terrible things. The question is whether those crimes define him forever, or whether he can choose to be better. Organa considers this. Your mother believed in second chances, in redemption. She would have wanted him to have that opportunity. We'll give him a chance, but he'll be watched closely. Any sign of betrayal, and we'll act accordingly. Anakin accepts these terms without argument. He knows trust must be earned, especially after everything he's done. He begins working with the rebellion, though in a limited capacity at first. His knowledge of Imperial operations is invaluable. He knows fleet deployments, supply routes, strategic plans that haven't been implemented yet. He provides intelligence that saves rebel lives and turns the tide of several battles. But his greatest contribution is training. He works with Luke and Leia privately, helping them refine their Force abilities. He teaches them advanced techniques, ways to combine their powers for maximum effect. He also begins confronting his own darkness, meditating on his actions and slowly, painfully, seeking balance within himself. The process is agonizing. The dark side doesn't release its grip easily. Anakin experiences visions, nightmares of all the people he's killed, all the suffering he's caused. He sees Padme's face, hears her voice calling to him, begging him to stop. Sometimes he wakes screaming, his children rushing to his side to anchor him back to reality. You're doing well, Luke tells him after one particularly bad night. The fact that you feel this guilt, that you're confronting what you've done, that's the light side returning. Anakin's voice is hoarse. How can you forgive me? How can you stand to be near me after everything? Because you're our father, Leia says simply. Because you gave us a chance when you could have destroyed us. Because you're trying to be better. That's all anyone can do. Try to be better than they were yesterday. Anakin pulls both his children into an embrace, his damaged body shaking with emotion. Your mother would be so proud of you. You're everything she hoped the galaxy could produce. Strong, compassionate, brave. Don't ever lose that, no matter what happens. 3 months after Anakin's defection, the Emperor discovers the truth. His rage is absolute. He issues an order that shakes the Empire to its core. Darth Vader is a traitor. He is to be hunted down and killed along with his children. A massive bounty is placed on their heads. Imperial forces are mobilized across the galaxy. The hunt has begun. The Rebel Alliance, suddenly harboring the most wanted man in the Empire, must adapt quickly. They move their base, scatter their forces, implement new security protocols. Anakin insists that he not be given any information that could compromise the Alliance if he's captured. Luke and Leia refuse to leave his side, determined to protect their father as he once protected them. The Imperial task force comes for them on Hoth. The rebels have established a hidden base on the ice world, believing its remote location will keep them safe. They're wrong. A massive Imperial fleet emerges from hyperspace, led by the Emperor's personal flagship. The assault is overwhelming. AT-ATs march across the frozen wasteland while TIE fighters strafe the rebel positions. The Alliance evacuation begins immediately, but they're pinned down. In the command center, Anakin makes a decision. I'm going out there. If I can draw their attention, the rest of you might escape. Absolutely not, Luke argues. That's suicide. They'll kill you. Then I'll die giving you a chance to live. Anakin places his hands on both his children's shoulders. I've lived far longer than I deserved. Every day since Mustafar has been borrowed time. Let me spend it ensuring you survive. Before they can stop him, Anakin strides out onto the frozen battlefield. He doesn't wear his Vader armor anymore, just simple Jedi robes and the lightsaber he wielded during the Clone Wars. He ignites it, a blue blade piercing the white landscape. The Imperial forces spot him immediately. Anakin Skywalker, traitor to the Empire. You are ordered to surrender. Anakin's response is to reach out with the Force and crush the nearest AT-AT, bringing the massive walker crashing down. I am done surrendering. I am done serving darkness. Come and face me if you dare. The Imperial forces converge on him. AT-ATs turn their weapons toward his position. Stormtroopers advance in formation. And then, stepping off a shuttle, comes the Emperor himself. Palpatine looks older than Anakin remembers, more twisted by the dark side. His yellow eyes burn with hatred as he regards his former apprentice. So the Chosen One has chosen poorly. You were to bring balance to the Force, not join the failing Jedi. I did bring balance, Anakin responds, by choosing to destroy the Sith and all they represent. Starting with you, the Emperor's laugh is like breaking glass. Foolish. You cannot defeat me. I am the darkness that has ruled this galaxy for decades. What hope do you have, broken and weak as you are? Anakin smiles slightly. More than you think, because he's not alone. Luke and Leia appear beside their father, lightsabers ignited. The Skywalker family stands together against the darkness. The Emperor's expression shifts to rage. Then you will all die together. He unleashes Force lightning, a torrent of dark energy that should incinerate them instantly. But the three Skywalkers raise their hands as one, combining their power to create a barrier. The lightning crashes against their combined strength and dissipates. The Emperor staggers, surprise evident on his face. Impossible. No one has that kind of power. We're not just anyone, Leia says. We're the Skywalkers. And we're done being afraid of you. The battle that follows is unlike anything the galaxy has seen. 3 Force users against 1, but that one is the most powerful Sith Lord in history. The Emperor fights with a ferocity born of desperation. He knows that if he falls here, everything he's built will crumble. The Emperor's lightsaber flashes red as he engages all 3 Skywalkers at once. His speed is incredible despite his apparent age. He drives them back with a series of brutal strikes, his power augmented by decades of dark side mastery. Anakin meets his blade, their weapons locking. Master, there's still time. Renounce the dark side. Help us rebuild the galaxy into something better. The Emperor's response is to channel lightning through their connected blades. Anakin screams as the energy courses through him, his damaged body vulnerable to the attack. Luke and Leia rush to his aid. Luke comes in low while Leia attacks from above. The Emperor is forced to release Anakin and defend against both children. His lightsaber becomes a blur of motion, blocking and parrying faster than the eye can follow. But the twins have trained together their entire lives. They move as one, their attacks coordinated through their Force bond. Leia feints left, drawing the Emperor's guard, while Luke strikes right. His blade scores a hit across Palpatine's side. The Emperor howls in pain and rage. He unleashes a Force push that sends both twins flying. Then he turns back to Anakin, who has struggled to his feet. You were my greatest creation, my masterpiece, and you've thrown it all away for what? For sentiment? For love? Those things make you weak. Anakin's voice is steady despite his pain. No, they make me strong. Stronger than I ever was as Vader. Because now I have something worth fighting for. Not power, not control, but the future. My children's future. The Emperor snarls and charges. The 2 former master and apprentice clash in a fury of lightsaber strikes. Their weapons move so fast they're almost invisible, sparks flying with each impact. Around them, the battle rages. Rebel soldiers fight Imperial forces while AT-ATs exchange fire with Rebel artillery. But all eyes keep drifting to the duel, sensing that this is where the war will truly be decided. Anakin is skilled, but he's weakened by his injuries and years of dark side corruption. The Emperor begins to drive him back, each strike hitting harder, faster. He's going to lose, and he knows it. Then Luke and Leia rejoin the fight, 3 against 1. The family fighting as a unit against the darkness. The Emperor finds himself overwhelmed. No matter which direction he turns, there's an attack coming. He manages to wound Anakin again, a deep cut across the chest. Leia screams in rage and channels that emotion into her power, not falling to the dark side but using it as fuel. She unleashes a Force push that staggers the Emperor. Luke follows immediately, his lightsaber slashing in a complex pattern that Anakin taught him. The Emperor blocks most of the strikes, but one gets through, severing his lightsaber hand. The ancient Sith stumbles, his weapon falling into the snow. For a moment there's silence. The Emperor looks at the 3 Skywalkers standing over him, their weapons ready. He begins to laugh, a horrible sound filled with madness and defiance. Kill me then. Strike me down. Let your hatred flow. Become what I made your father. Prove that the dark side is inevitable. Luke's lightsaber hovers inches from the Emperor's throat. The rage is there, the desire for vengeance for every crime Palpatine has committed. But then he looks at his father, sees the scars that darkness left on him, and makes a choice. No. I am a Jedi. Like my mother was a senator. Like my father was a hero, we don't kill prisoners. We bring them to justice. The Emperor's eyes narrow. Fool. Luke deactivates his lightsaber. He's beaten. Let the galaxy judge him for his crimes. But the Emperor has one final trick. With his remaining hand, he channels every ounce of dark side power he possesses into a single attack. Lightning erupts from his fingertips, not aimed at Luke but at Leia. The bolt is powerful enough to kill instantly. But Anakin Skywalker moves faster than he has in decades. He throws himself in front of his daughter, taking the full force of the lightning into his chest. His body convulses, the energy tearing through his already damaged systems. But even as he's dying, Anakin reaches out with the Force and grabs the Emperor. He lifts Palpatine into the air, the ancient Sith writhing and screaming. "Father, no!" Luke rushes forward, but Anakin shakes his head. It has to end. It has to end here. With the last of his strength, Anakin hurls the Emperor high into the air. "We will not repeat the mistakes of the past," she tells the Senate firmly. "We will solve our problems through debate and consensus, not through authoritarian shortcuts. That's harder, slower, and more frustrating. But it's the only way to preserve freedom." The twins have children of their own eventually. Luke has a son he names Ben, after Obi-Wan Kenobi, who gave him the crystal that became his lightsaber. Leia has twins, a boy and a girl, continuing the family tradition. She names them Bail and Padme, honoring those who shaped her parents' lives. As they raise their children, both Luke and Leia are conscious of the legacy they're passing on. They tell stories of Anakin Skywalker, both the good and the bad. They don't shy away from his crimes as Vader, but they also emphasize his redemption. "Your grandfather made terrible mistakes," Luke tells young Ben during a training session. "He fell to darkness and did things that can never be fully atoned for. But in the end, he chose love over hate. He chose to save his children over serving evil. The choice matters." Ben, barely 10 years old, considers this. "So even someone who does really bad things can become good again?" Luke nods, not easily and not without cost. "But yes, redemption is always possible if you're willing to fight for it. Remember that, Ben. No matter how far you fall, you can always choose to stand back up." Leia has similar conversations with her children, though her focus is more political. She teaches them about power, how it corrupts, how it must be constantly checked and balanced. She shows them hollows of the Senate during the Clone Wars, pointing out the subtle manipulations that led to the Empire's rise. "This is why we have term limits now," she explains. "Why the Chancellor can't accumulate emergency powers. Why the military answers to civilian leadership. Every one of these safeguards exists because we learned painfully what happens when they don't." Young Padme, sharp and curious like her namesake, asks, "But Mama, what if there's a real emergency? What if the safeguards slow us down when we need to act quickly?" Leia's answer is immediate. "Then we accept that cost, because the alternative, giving someone unlimited power even temporarily, is how democracies die. Speed and efficiency aren't worth sacrificing freedom. Your grandmother knew that, and she died trying to preserve it. 20 years after the Emperor's death, the galaxy has transformed. The New Republic is firmly established, though not without its problems. The Jedi Order, while smaller than it was in the Old Republic, is respected and trusted. Former Imperial worlds have been reintegrated, their populations given voice in the new government. It's not perfect, far from it, but it's better." That's what Luke and Leia tell themselves in quiet moments. They didn't create a utopia. They created something better than what existed before, and that's enough. On the anniversary of the Battle of Hoth, the twins meet on that frozen world, now transformed into a memorial site. They walk to the place where their father died, where Anakin Skywalker made his final stand against darkness. A simple marker has been placed there, bearing his name and dates. No titles, no mention of Vader, just Anakin Skywalker, Jedi Knight, Father Hero. "We did it," Luke says quietly. "What he started, what Mother hoped for, we finished it. The galaxy is free." Leia looks out across the ice fields, now peaceful rather than a battlefield. "Do you think they're watching? Somewhere in the Force, are they proud of what we've built?" Luke closes his eyes, reaching out through the Force. For a moment, he feels them, warm presences on the edge of perception. Anakin and Padme, together in death as they couldn't be in life. "Yes," he says with certainty. "They're proud. They're at peace. And we've given the galaxy a chance to heal." That's all anyone could ask for. The twins stand there in silence, feeling the cold wind on their faces, remembering everything that brought them to this moment. The pain, the sacrifice, the difficult choices, but also the love, the hope, the unwavering belief that things could be better. They are the children of Anakin Skywalker and Padme Amidala. Raised by darkness, guided by light, forged in war, dedicated to peace. They are the bridge between the old galaxy and the new, carrying the lessons of the past into a brighter future. And as they turn to leave the memorial, heading back to their ships and their responsibilities, they know their parents' legacy lives on. Not in statues or history books, though those exist, but in the choices they make every day, in the students Luke trains, in the laws Leia passes, in the children they're raising to be better than they were. The Skywalker story doesn't end with them. It continues through each generation, each person who chooses compassion over cruelty, freedom over tyranny, love over hate. That's the real legacy, the one that matters. And it's the one that will endure long after they're gone, passed on like a flame in the darkness, never extinguished, always burning bright. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Medical facility on Polis Massa hums with urgency as Padme Amidala lies on the operating table, her life slipping away with each labored breath. Obi-Wan Kenobi stands beside her, his face etched with grief as the medical droids work frantically to save her. The first child arrives, a boy, his cries piercing the sterile air. Then comes his sister, smaller but no less fierce in her announcement to the galaxy. Padme's eyes flutter open one last time as she reaches weakly for her children. She whispers their names, Luke and Leia, before her hand falls limp. Obi-Wan closes his eyes, feeling the ripple in the Force as another light is extinguished from the galaxy. But he is not alone in sensing this disturbance. Across the stars, on the volcanic world of Mustafar, Darth Vader rises from the operating table. His new armor gleams black in the firelight, and his breathing echoes with mechanical precision. The pain of his transformation is nothing compared to the anguish tearing through his soul. He reaches out through the Force, desperate, searching for any sign of Padme. What he finds freezes him in place. Not death, but life. Two bright sparks in the Force, unmistakable and pure. His children. They live. Without hesitation, Vader commandeers a shuttle and sets course for Polis Massa. His Emperor's voice crackles through the comm, demanding his return, but Vader ignores it. Nothing matters now except reaching his children before they are taken from him, like everything else. The journey feels like an eternity, each second weighted with possibility and dread. When he finally arrives at the medical facility, Vader strides through the corridors like a force of nature. Medical personnel scatter before him, their terror palpable. He follows the pull in the Force until he reaches the room where Obi-Wan stands with two infants cradled in his arms. The former friends face each other across the small space, the weight of Mustafar hanging between them like a blade. Obi-Wan's hand moves to his lightsaber, but he doesn't ignite it. He cannot fight while holding the children. Vader's breathing fills the room, steady and mechanical. You were going to hide them from me. Obi-Wan's jaw tightens. I was going to protect them from you, from what you've become. They are my children, Kenobi, mine, and I will not lose them as I lost her. You lost yourself, Anakin. You chose this path. Do not drag these innocents down it with you. Vader takes a step forward, his hand outstretched. Give them to me. Obi-Wan backs toward the viewport, his mind racing through impossible options. He could run, but Vader would pursue. He could fight, but the children would be at risk. He looks down at the sleeping infants, so small and helpless, and sees Padme in their features. He sees Anakin too, the man who once was his brother. Perhaps that man is not entirely gone. Perhaps these children are the only thing that can bring him back. Against every instinct, Obi-Wan steps forward and places the children in Vader's arms. The Dark Lord freezes, his breathing catching for just a moment. He looks down at his son and daughter, and something shifts behind the mask. If you harm them, if you turn them into weapons for your Emperor, I will hunt you to the ends of the galaxy. Vader's voice is quiet when he responds. They are all I have left of her. I would die before I let harm come to them. He turns and walks away, the children secure in his grasp. Obi-Wan watches him go, hoping desperately that he has made the right choice. The Force offers no answers, only silence and uncertainty. Vader brings the twins to his fortress on Mustafar, an imposing structure of black stone rising from the lava flows. The planet that witnessed his transformation will now witness their upbringing. He knows he must inform the Emperor of their existence, but he carefully chooses his words. When Palpatine's hologram flickers to life, his yellow eyes narrow with interest and suspicion. You have children, Lord Vader? This is unexpected. They are strong in the Force, my master. I can sense their potential even now. They could become powerful assets to the Empire. Palpatine's expression is unreadable. Or powerful threats. The Chosen One's offspring might prove as dangerous as useful. Vader had anticipated this, which is why they must be raised properly. Under my guidance, they will know only loyalty to the Empire. They will be taught that order and power are the only paths to peace. I will ensure they never follow the failed teachings of the Jedi. The Emperor considers this, his ancient mind calculating possibilities. Very well, but know this. The years pass in that fortress of fire and shadow. Luke and Leia grow up knowing nothing but the harsh realities of Imperial rule. Their father is a towering figure in black, his face forever hidden behind a mask, his voice filtered through mechanics. And yet, despite the darkness that surrounds him, there are moments of unexpected tenderness. When Luke is 4 years old and wakes screaming from nightmares, it is Vader who comes to his room. The Dark Lord sits on the edge of the small bed, his massive form incongruous in the child's space. "What did you dream, son?" Luke's blue eyes are wide with fear. "I saw fire, and a beautiful lady with brown hair. She was sad." Vader's breathing becomes slightly irregular. "That was your mother. She loved you very much. Is she with the Force now, like you told us?" "Yes. She is one with the Force." Luke reaches out and touches his father's mask with small fingers. "Do you miss her?" "Every moment of every day." Vader gently takes his son's hand. "But I have you and your sister. You are what remains of her light in this galaxy. You must be strong, Luke. Strong enough to survive in a universe that devours the weak." Leia proves different from her brother, more skeptical and questioning. At 6 years old, she watches Imperial broadcasts with her father and asks uncomfortable questions. "Why do the people look so afraid?" "Because they respect strength and order. They look terrified, not respectful." "What's the difference?" Leia's brown eyes are sharp, too perceptive for her age. Vader realizes with a mixture of pride and concern that she has inherited her mother's political acuity. The difference is that respect is earned through power. Fear is simply a tool to maintain control. Those who oppose order must be shown the consequences of chaos. But what if the order itself is wrong? What if the people have good reasons to be afraid? Vader turns to look at his daughter fully. "You question everything just as she did. It is a dangerous trait, but also a valuable one. Never stop thinking critically, Leia. But understand this, the galaxy is not governed by right and wrong. It is governed by power and weakness. Those who hesitate, who cling to abstract morals, are crushed by those who act decisively." Her questions never truly stop, but Vader appreciates her mind even as it challenges him. She will need that sharp intellect to survive. As the twins approach their 10th year, their Force training begins in earnest. Vader takes them to a training chamber deep within the fortress, a vast space where they can practice without restraint. He demonstrates the raw power available to those who master the Force, lifting massive stone blocks with ease, crushing durasteel with a gesture, summoning lightning that crackles across the ceiling. Luke watches with wonder, his connection to the Force already strong and instinctive. Leia observes more analytically, studying the techniques, understanding the principles behind each demonstration. "Your mother had a connection to all living things," Vader tells them. "She could sense emotions, intentions, the fundamental nature of those around her. That gift flows through you both. But sentiment is a weakness if not properly controlled. You must learn to use the Force without letting it use you." He begins their training with meditation, teaching them to find the calm center within themselves. But unlike the Jedi, who sought peace through detachment, Vader teaches them to find strength through controlled passion. Your emotions are not your enemy. Fear, anger, love, all of these can fuel your power if you master them rather than being mastered by them. Luke takes to the physical aspects of training with natural talent. His reflexes are incredible, his instincts sharp. When Vader puts a training saber in his hand for the first time, the boy moves with a grace that reminds him painfully of his own youth. Good. Your connection to the Force guides your movements. Don't think, feel. Let the Force show you where your opponent will strike before they strike. Luke's face scrunches in concentration as he deflects the training remotes Vader releases. One by one, he blocks their shots, his small form moving with increasing confidence. Leia approaches combat differently. She is precise rather than instinctive, studying patterns and exploiting weaknesses. When she faces the same remotes, she doesn't rely on pure reflex. Instead, she uses the Force to predict their programming, to understand the logic of their attacks. She blocks fewer shots than Luke, but wastes no energy on unnecessary movements. Vader watches both his children with a complex mixture of emotions he thought long dead. Pride, hope, fear. They are becoming everything he wanted them to be, powerful and skilled. But he sees too much of Padme in them, too much light that his darkness might extinguish. Their education extends beyond the Force and combat. Vader ensures they understand politics, strategy, history. He brings them holo recordings of the Clone Wars, showing them the chaos that preceded the Empire. This is what the galaxy was like before order was established. Millions dead in pointless conflicts, worlds torn apart by war. The Jedi failed to prevent any of it. They were too bound by their code, too afraid to do what was necessary. Luke watches footage of clone troopers falling in battle. They all look the same, because they were created to serve. Bred for war. Is that wrong? Vader pauses before answering. It is necessary. The Republic needed soldiers, and the Jedi used them without hesitation despite their moral qualms about attachment and possession. The hypocrisy was staggering. At least the Empire is honest about its methods. Leia, always the more challenging of the two, speaks up. So the Jedi were hypocrites, but that makes the Empire right? Vader's tone sharpens slightly. The Empire brings stability. That is more than the Republic ever achieved. The conversation troubles both children, but they file away their doubts, knowing that openly challenging their father leads nowhere productive. When the twins are 12, Vader begins taking them on missions. Nothing too dangerous at first, simple assignments where they can observe Imperial operations firsthand. Their first trip off Mustafar is to a mining world where resistance has been reported. Vader brings them to watch as Imperial forces round up suspected rebels. The twins stand behind their father as he interrogates prisoners, his force choke extracting information that interrogation droids could not. Luke turns away, unable to watch. Leia forces herself to keep looking, but her hands tremble at her sides. On the journey back to Mustafar, Luke finally speaks. Did you have to kill that last one? The one who told you everything? Vader's response is immediate. He was a traitor to the Empire. The consequence for treason is death. That is justice. But he had a family. You saw the hollows in his pocket. His children. Vader turns to face his son. And do you think he considered his children when he chose to betray the lawful government? When he planted bombs that killed Imperial citizens? His choices led to his fate. Remember this lesson. Compassion for the guilty is cruelty to the innocent. Luke says nothing more, but something has changed in his eyes. That night, the twins meet in Leia's room. Speaking in whispers they hope their father cannot hear. Through their force bond, they share their doubts and fears. This isn't right, Luke says. What father is doing? It can't be right. Leia sits on her bed, hugging her knees. I know. But what can we do? We're children. He's Darth Vader, one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. If we oppose him openly, he'll either turn us or destroy us. Maybe we can change him. Luke suggests with the optimism that defines him. Maybe if we show him a better way, remind him of Mother. Leia shakes her head. I've tried. Every time I question his methods, he justifies them. He truly believes the Empire is right. Or perhaps he's trapped, just like us. What do you mean? Leia's eyes are distant. I've been studying the political structure. Father serves the Emperor. If he truly disagreed with Imperial policy, speaking out would mean death. Maybe he's teaching us to survive in the only way he knows how. Luke considers this. So we play along. We learn everything he teaches us. And when we're strong enough, we make our own choices. The pact is made in that quiet moment. Two children deciding to become something their father never intended. Not servants of the Empire, but its eventual opponents. They will use his training against the very system he represents. But they are still children, and such grand plans seem distant and abstract. For now, they focus on survival and growth. As the twins enter their teenage years, their training intensifies dramatically. Vader holds nothing back now, pushing them to their absolute limits. They spar against him in the training chamber, working together to land even a single blow against their father's defense. Luke comes in high while Leia sweeps low, their coordination improving with each session. Vader blocks Luke's overhead strike and sidesteps Leia's leg sweep in a single fluid motion. He counters by force, pushing them both back, sending them sliding across the floor. Good, you're learning to attack as one, but you're still too predictable. Luke, your aggression makes you reckless. Leia, your caution makes you hesitant. You must find balance between these extremes. They rise and attack again, sweat pouring down their faces. This time Luke feints aggression, drawing Vader's attention while Leia uses the Force to pull his ankle. But they are also teenagers, and teenagers make mistakes. On a mission to Naboo, Vader's former home, the twins split off from their father to explore the capital city. Luke is drawn to a protest in one of the squares, people holding signs and chanting slogans against Imperial taxation. Leia tries to pull him away, but he insists on watching. We need to understand these people, to see what drives them to risk everything. The protest is peaceful until the stormtroopers arrive. They order the crowd to disperse, and when the protesters don't move fast enough, they open fire. Stun rounds at first, but then live ammunition as panic spreads. Luke watches in horror as people fall, blood staining the beautiful squares of Naboo. An older woman is shot trying to shield a young girl. A man is trampled as the crowd flees. The young girl, no more than 8 years old, is left crying over the woman's body. Luke doesn't think. He simply acts. He rushes forward, using the Force to deflect the remaining blaster bolts, and scoops up the child. Leia appears at his side, her lightsaber igniting as she faces down the stormtroopers. "Stand down. We're taking this child to safety." The stormtroopers hesitate, recognizing them as Lord Vader's children, but uncertain what to do. Their lieutenant steps forward. Lord Vader's orders were to suppress any demonstrations by any means necessary. The child is a witness to rebel activity and must be detained. Leia's voice is cold. "The child is a victim, not a rebel. And if you don't stand down, I'll make you stand down." The lieutenant reaches for his weapon, and Leia uses the Force to rip every blaster from the squad's hands. Luke is already moving, carrying the crying girl toward safety. The twins disappear into the city, leaving confused stormtroopers in their wake. They know there will be consequences, but in that moment, they don't care. They take the girl to a safe house run by people they suspect are rebel sympathizers. An elderly Gungan male opens the door, his eyes widening as he recognizes who they are. "Please," Luke says. "She needs help. Her grandmother was killed. She has nowhere to go." The Gungan looks at them for a long moment, then nods and takes the child inside. "Mesa, thank you, but Yusa should not have come here." "Yusa, father, he will be very angry." "We know," Leia says. "But we couldn't just watch." The Gungan's expression softens. "Yusa, have Yusa, mother's heart. Both of Yusa. She would be proud." The words hit them like a physical blow. They've never heard anyone speak of their mother with such familiarity. "Did you know her?" Mesa did. "Senator Amidala, she was kind to my people. She fought for us in the Senate when no one else would." "The galaxy, it is darker without her light." Luke's voice is barely a whisper. "What was she like?" "Beautiful. Not just in appearance, but in spirit. She believed in people, believed they could be better. She loved with her whole heart, even when it hurt." The Gungan looks at them with sad eyes. "She loved Yusa, father, very much." Even at the end, the twins leave the safe house with more questions than answers, but also with a profound sense of purpose. They have touched something real, helped someone who needed it, and it felt right in a way that Imperial service never has. When they return to their father, he is waiting. He says nothing at first, simply looking at them with his expressionless mask. Finally, he speaks. "I know what you did. The stormtrooper unit filed a report. You countermanded Imperial orders, aided a potential rebel sympathizer, and revealed yourselves to the local population." Luke steps forward. "Father, we couldn't let them kill an innocent child. The woman who died protecting her was her grandmother. What threat did an 8-year-old pose to the Empire?" Vader's breathing is steady, controlled. "You don't understand the larger picture. Every act of mercy is seen as weakness. Every deviation from protocol creates cracks in the facade of Imperial power. The girl you saved will grow up hating the Empire, will likely join the rebellion. Your compassion today may cost Imperial lives tomorrow. Then maybe Imperial policy needs to change." Leia says, her voice stronger than she feels. "Maybe if the Empire didn't rule through fear and oppression, there wouldn't be a rebellion. Maybe people would support it willingly, instead of being forced into compliance through violence." The silence that follows is deafening. Vader moves toward them, and for a moment, they think he might strike them down. Instead, he places one massive hand on each of their shoulders. "You are so much like her, both of you. She said the same things, challenged me the same way. I thought I had buried that part of my life, but it lives on in you." His voice drops lower. "I cannot protect you if you continue down this path. The Emperor watches everything. If he perceives you as threats or as sympathizers to the rebellion, he will order your execution, and I will not be able to stop him." "Then teach us how to hide it better," Luke says. "Teach us how to survive in this galaxy." Vader's grip tightens slightly. "Very well, but understand this. If you choose to oppose the Empire, you must be strong enough to see it through. Half measures will get you killed. If you're going to be rebels, be smart ones." The admission hangs in the air. Vader has just acknowledged what they all know but have never spoken aloud. The twins are no longer loyal Imperials. They are insurgents in training, and their father is helping them despite every oath he's sworn. The next phase of their training is unlike anything before. Vader teaches them subterfuge, how to move through Imperial society without raising suspicion. He shows them how to mask their presence in the Force, to hide their true intentions from Force-sensitive interrogators. You must become actors, he tells them. When you wear the mask of loyalty, it must be perfect. One slip, one moment of genuine emotion showing through, and you're compromised. He teaches them encryption, how to communicate in codes that even Imperial slicers cannot break. He shows them dead drops and secret channels, methods he learned during the Clone Wars when operating behind enemy lines. All of this is ostensibly to make them better Imperial agents, but they all know the real purpose. Luke's piloting training takes on new dimensions. Vader teaches him not just how to fly, but how to evade, to disappear, to shake pursuit. He shows him smuggler routes and hidden hyperspace lanes, paths through space that don't appear on any Imperial charts. You have the skills to be the best pilot in the galaxy, Vader tells him. Use that gift to stay alive when everything goes wrong, because eventually it will. Leia's education in politics becomes an education in revolution. Vader shares stories of the Clone Wars, of how Padmé navigated the corrupt Senate, building coalitions and outmaneuvering opponents. He teaches Leia to recognize genuine leaders versus opportunists, to understand what motivates people to risk everything for a cause. Your mother believed in democracy, in the power of the people to govern themselves. I thought she was naive. Perhaps I was wrong. The admission costs him. They can hear it in his voice. On their 17th birthday, Vader gives them each a gift. For Luke, a modified lightsaber crystal, one that burns with a brilliant blue light. It was mine, he says, before, when I was still him. I want you to have it. For Leia, a holochip containing every speech Padmé ever gave in the Senate, every political maneuver, every triumph and failure. Study her, Vader tells his daughter. Learn from her mistakes. Don't let idealism blind you to practical realities, but don't lose the idealism either. It's a delicate balance, and she mastered it better than anyone I knew. The twins are moved beyond words, understanding the significance of these gifts. Their father is giving them pieces of Anakin Skywalker, the man he used to be. That night, as they examine their gifts in private, they make a decision. It's time to make contact with the Rebel Alliance properly, not just leaving anonymous supplies, but actually joining the fight. They use their knowledge of Imperial protocols to access classified information, tracking Rebel movements and intercepting communications. Finally, they identify a Rebel cell operating near Yavin, one that seems more organized and professional than most. They craft a message, carefully worded to avoid Imperial red flags. To the Rebel Alliance, we are assets within the Imperial structure. We have information about fleet movements, supply lines, and strategic plans. We want to help. We want to fight. The response comes 3 days later. Prove yourselves. Imperial Station 12 needs to be destroyed. It coordinates surveillance across 6 sectors. If you can take it down, we'll talk. The twins plan meticulously. They know their father is monitoring them, but they've learned from the best how to move in shadows. They tell Vader they're going on a training mission, testing Luke's piloting skills in an asteroid field near the station. He gives his approval, distracted by orders from the Emperor. They take a modified shuttle, one Luke has been tinkering with for months, upgrading its weapons and shields beyond standard specs. As they approach the station, Leia slices into its systems remotely, feeding it false data that shows their shuttle as an authorized Imperial transport. They dock without incident. Inside the station, they move with the confidence of people who belong. Leia wears an officer's uniform, her bearing so perfect that no one questions her presence. Luke is dressed as a technician, carrying equipment that he'll use to plant explosives. They split up, each heading to critical junction points. Leia reaches the main control room and uses a combination of her father's codes and her own slicing skills to access the system. She downloads everything, intelligence that could save Rebel lives for months to come. Then she plants her charge, a small explosive that will overload the reactor. Luke has more difficulty. A suspicious security officer stops him, demanding identification. Luke's hand moves to his concealed lightsaber, ready to fight, but then he remembers his father's lessons. He doesn't fight, he manipulates. His voice takes on a strange echo, the Force flowing through his words. You don't need to see my identification. The officer's eyes glaze slightly. I don't need to see your identification. I'm authorized to be here. You're authorized to be here. I can go about my business. You can go about your business. The officer nods and walks away. Luke continues to the reactor room, his hands shaking slightly from the adrenaline. He plants his explosives and sets the timer, 10 minutes. They meet back at their shuttle. and Luke pilots them away from the station with seconds to spare. Behind them, the station erupts in a ball of fire. Debris scatters across space, and emergency signals fill the Imperial channels. Leia looks at the destruction and feels a complex mixture of satisfaction and horror. People died in there. Imperial personnel, but still people. Luke's hands are tight on the controls, I know. But how many lives will we save with the intelligence we got? How many rebel soldiers won't walk into ambushes now? His sister nods slowly. You're right. This is war, and in war, there are costs. They transmit their evidence to the rebel contact, along with a sample of the intelligence they stole. The response is almost immediate. Impressive. We want to meet face to face. The coordinates and time are provided, and the twins know there's no turning back now. They are committed to this path. When they return to Mustafar, Vader is waiting for them in the landing bay. His posture is rigid, and they know immediately that he knows. They step off the shuttle, ready for confrontation, but Vader simply turns and walks toward his meditation chamber. Follow me. In the privacy of his sanctum, surrounded by the dark energies he's cultivated, Vader finally speaks. Imperial Station 12 was destroyed 3 hours ago. 217 personnel are dead. The station's intelligence archives were accessed minutes before the explosion. Only someone with high-level codes could have accomplished this. Someone trained in infiltration and combat. Someone with the skills of a Jedi. Luke and Leia say nothing, refusing to lie to their father but unable to confirm the truth. Vader continues. The Emperor has ordered a full investigation. He suspects a rebel operation, possibly aided by an Imperial traitor. He has asked me personally to oversee the hunt for those responsible. His mask turns toward them. What would you have me tell him? Leia finds her voice first. Tell him whatever you need to. We're not going to stop, Father. We can't. The Empire is wrong. You know it's wrong. You've always known it. Vader's breathing fills the chamber. I know many things. I know the Emperor is a Sith Lord who cares nothing for the people he rules. I know the Empire brings order through fear and oppression. I know the Jedi failed and the Republic was corrupt. He moves to the viewport, looking out at the volcanic landscape. I also know that I made choices that can never be unmade. Choices that led to your mother's death and my damnation. I thought I could protect you from that burden, could raise you to be strong enough to survive in this galaxy. Instead, I've raised rebels. Father, Luke says, stepping forward, you can come with us. You can leave the Empire. We're strong now. Together, the three of us could make a difference. We could honor Mother's memory by fighting for what she believed in. For a moment, just a moment, they think he might agree. Then Vader shakes his head. I am too far gone. Too much of Anakin Skywalker died on Mustafar. What remains is barely enough to care for you. But I cannot become him again. The path back is closed to me. Then help us, Leia insists. You don't have to fight with us, but don't fight against us. Give us information, help us survive. Vader is silent for a long time. Finally, he speaks. I will give you 1 year. 1 year to prove that your rebellion has a chance. During that time, I will shield you from the Emperor's suspicion. I will provide intelligence when I can, but if at the end of that year the rebellion is failing, if it's clear that the Empire cannot be defeated, you will abandon this foolishness and return to my side. Do we have an accord?